Today I'm going to be taking a look at even more of your controversial regular show hot takes. I'm going to be looking at all of them that you've left in my comments, in my Discord, wherever it is. I'm going to be taking a look at them and discussing if it's actually true to the show, if it deserves to be added, to be taken away, whatever it is, or if you're just full of shit and your hot take is just horrible. I'm going to be taking a look at all of that, just having some good fun, and this is going to be the regular show hot takes finale, because at a certain point, you need to know when to put a series to rest, and I have almost 2 hours of content relating to hot takes, and I start rambling about the same stuff over and over again, so it's important to know when to put a series to rest. But do not worry, I will have many more hot takes videos about Adventure Time, Gumball, SpongeBob, and even regular show The Lost Tapes when that eventually comes out, so there's plenty of more good content on the way, and all of my regular videos as well. So if you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I also have a Discord now. The link will be in the description below. It's just a place where you can come to just chill, talk about nostalgic cartoons, movies, games, whatever you really want, ask questions to me, you could send me video ideas, whatever you really want. It's just a nice community that we're building over there that you want to be a part of. So without further ado, let's talk about your regular show hot takes for the final time. And starting us off, we have one from World of Footy saying, I don't think regular show should come back as a full series. It had a solid run, told its story, and gave us a proper ending. Bringing it back might mess with what made it special, but I'd definitely be down for a movie or a short special, just a chance to catch up with the gang and see Mordecai and Rigby go on one last crazy adventure. And I completely understand what you're saying. It is valid to worry about a show coming back, and it might not capture that same feeling, that same magic that it had when we were kids. But the difference here is that it's called regular show The Lost Tapes. It's not like it's going to be coming back to change all of the characters, to give them all some big arc where they go on a crazy adventure and we get to learn their backstories and we get to learn their origins. It's not going to do that. It's not going to change anything about our core characters that they know how to write. They know how all the characters work. They did it for so long, and that's why I think The Lost Tapes is called The Lost Tapes for a reason. It's going to be probably like something in between like seasons 2 and season 4, just adventures that we didn't get to see in that time frame, because I think the reason they're doing regular show The Lost Tapes instead of regular show 25 years later is because they're going to bring Pops back. They're going to just make it the old casual crew going through the casual shenanigans, and it's going to feel like classic season 1 through season 4 regular show, without all of this drama, without the love triangle, without all of this stuff that's going to change all of the characters that we love. I think it's going to just be the same consistent show, which is why I'm happy that we're getting one more season where I could just enjoy and relive my childhood, relive a show that I love so much, with all of the characters just acting like their normal selves, because it's not going to be a show that's going to revolutionize the entire series and change all of them and give them some amazing arc where we're so satisfied at the end. It's just going to be a bunch of good fun, and that's why I'm really excited for it. Then we have one from Phantom Aranchula saying, I think season 8 should have cut High Five Ghost from the Parkcast, since I don't recall him having much presence in the show anyway, having some episodes instead dedicated to how he handled the chaos back on Earth, and hanging out with Celia more could have made him easier to detach from Muscleman, so he'd hopefully be able to stand out on his own as a character better. And I don't really think they would ever do something like this. I don't think they had a plan to make High Five Ghost a main character ever, as much as everybody wanted it, as much as everybody wanted High Five Ghost to exist and be enjoyed. I think JG Quintel just honestly hated doing his voice so much that he just didn't want to make his presence just known. So, I mean, cutting him from the main part cast, I wouldn't like that either, because, I mean, in season 7, High Five Ghost actually had a pretty good amount of stuff to do. There were a lot of Mordecai, Rigby, Muscleman, and High Five Ghost episodes, like Favorite Shirt, Struck by Lightning. There was a good amount of episodes that featured High Five Ghost heavily, maybe not in the main role, but he was definitely featured a lot more. So they were trying to rectify this, and then in season 8, he basically did nothing. He was just kind of always on Muscleman's side, just always just on his hip basically the entire time. So I could see what you're saying about not wanting him to be there because he didn't change much, but I mean, he's a core part of the park. Of course he's going to be there. Of course we're going to enjoy him. And if you think they're not going to give him any episodes in season 7 or season 8 while he's actually in space, then of course they're not going to give him an episode back home with Celia. Why would they do that? They don't care about him. That wouldn't happen. Then we have one from Frozone 2K saying, I think Starla cheated on Muscleman as it was never explained how she got a child without him present. So, in case you didn't know, regular shows like target audience is like kids and teenagers. They're not gonna show Muscleman getting down and jiggy with his big old tub of lard wife on the show. They're not going to even remotely hint to the fact that they did that. It was just supposed to be a sweet, wholesome moment at the end where Muscleman comes back and finds out that one, he got Starla pregnant in the first place, and two, he now has a daughter that is the same age as when he would have left. It just lines up with the timeline because they were in space for a lot longer than you think. They were there for a while, so it just lines up perfectly. They were gone for like at least a year or two. And his child is about a year or two old, so I think Muscleman just got Starla pregnant. They didn't realize it at first, and then Muscleman was forced to go into space. I mean, they were living together at the time. They were living in the same trailer. They were married. I don't know why you would immediately think that Starla cheated on him, and she would also... I don't agree with this at all. I don't think Starla cheated on Muscleman. I think Muscleman got her pregnant and then was sucked into space. I don't know where you're getting this from, but no, they're not going to show us a Muscleman sex scene, no matter how much we'd want it, on regular show TV. Then we have one from Steven Xfamto saying, Muscleman really had the best development arc in regular show, and it upsets me that nobody talks about it. He went from being a jerk character towards Mordecai and Rigby, but slowly he becomes their friend, along with High Five Ghost. They help Muscleman scatter Muscleman's dad's ashes, and at that point, I could see their friendship flourish. And I completely agree with you. I think Muscleman actually did have a pretty good arc. I don't think it was front and center like maybe Rigby, for example, but if you do watch the show, he goes from being just a really horrible person who's just constantly like, just constantly freaking out, just constantly losing his mind, constantly pranking them, to actually caring about them and being their friend later on in the series. And you could see it progressively get like that more and more with Muscleman going to Mordecai and Rigby, just constantly asking them to help him out, like an example like Fancy Restaurant, Trucker Hall of Fame, all these different episodes where Muscleman trusted Mordecai and Rigby and was actually their friend, compared to like season 1 where he's just a dick, season 2 where he's just a dick, and season 3 where he's honestly just a dick. Muscleman is one of those characters where you could see him grow, where you could see him change and just progress into a character that the majority of people like and a lot of people dislike for some reason. I love Muscleman. I think he's hilarious. He's definitely one of those characters that had a good arc. You just have to pay attention to when he's changing to actually notice it, because it's not going to just throw it in your face that he's a changed person and that he's like, oh, I'm so happy now, I'm everybody's friend, because he's not that kind of character who's going to act like that. You just have to notice all the small changes, that he appreciates all of his friends, and by the end of the series, I think he's honestly pretty much a softie compared to how he was in season 1. It's a big change in his character. And then we have one from XXX/16 saying, for my hot take, I miss the cursing and the crude humor in regular show. Those were one of the reasons why the show was funny to begin with. Well, yeah, they did have some in the later seasons, but honestly, it was a bit tame compared to seasons 1, 2, or 3. Okay, well, you have to take into consideration here what was going on with Cartoon Network at the time. Okay, so you have the big 3 shows, right? You have Regular Show, Adventure Time, and Gumball. Okay, Gumball maybe would push some things a little bit with, like, innuendos, but it wouldn't do anything extreme like Regular Show. Adventure Time was just wholesome fun the entire time, besides maybe, do not go to tier 15, stuff like that. Just little, like, innuendos, but Regular Show was the only show that would be like, holy crap, you pissed me off. And as a kid, that's gonna make you go like, oh, they said the crap word. Oh, I need to go tell my mom. That was crazy. It made the show cool. It made it edgy. It made it feel really different. But then you also have to take into consideration, by the time season 3 rolled around, you know what other show was starting to pop off for some stupid reason? Teen Titans Go. And boy, oh boy, did Cartoon Network love Teen Titans Go. As a OG Teen Titans fan, I hate Teen Titans Go so much. I mean, I've been thinking about rewatching all of it for a video to decide if I actually hate it all or if it's actually funny, because I've seen some scenes about the show, like when they decide to, like, you know, explain taxes or something, that I think is actually funny. I think that show is actually, like, fine for what it is, but at the time as a kid I hated it because it wasn't like any of the other shows at the time. It was just like silly kid humor and I wasn't a fan of it. But Cartoon Network just dug their teeth into that and started like trying to produce a bunch of shows like that made for like toddlers basically, and not focusing on shows like this. So as they started to focus more on like Teen Titans Go, they probably were like, you guys shouldn't really make those jokes anymore. That's why they changed things like, you pissed me off, to you ticked me off. Like, they changed things like that to make it suck a little bit more, but it was just kind of the direction that the company was going. They didn't want all the crude humor, they didn't want all the, like, mild cursing, because it just wasn't what they wanted at the time, and Regular Show did try to push the boundaries for a while, and they got away with a lot of stuff, but eventually I think Cartoon Network just kept saying no to any of the additions they would try to make, which is why it's always fun to think about if they were on Adult Swim. I just think Mordecai saying fuck would be really funny. Then we have Walter saying, hot take, you should do all 3 of the Muscleman, Pops, and Benson cosplays. Okay, here's how it's going to go. 20,000 subscribers is going to be the Benson drinking the Mississippi Queen cosplay, and then we're going to go all the way up to 50,000, which will be a Muscleman hot dog eating contest cosplay, and then 100,000 because I think it's going to be the hardest thing that I'll ever do because I don't know if I could drink that much milk. Don't get me wrong, I love dairy. I don't know if I could do it, but if I get to 100,000 subscribers, then I will dress up as Pops. I will do the, oh, you can taste the Himalayas voice the entire video, and I will drink a gallon of milk in 1 hour. So yeah, that's the parameters for that. If you want that, you might as well subscribe. Then we have one from Aranchula saying, I actually find Mordecai's main character moment when he humiliates himself and CJ to be hilarious, up to the point where CJ cuts him off and runs away crying. Then I just feel really bad for CJ, though I agree that the episode is otherwise really dull outside of the Rigby revealing Eileen as his girlfriend. I don't find it funny at all. It's just cringe humor. You must be the type of person that like laughs at the try not to cringe challenge videos where it's just somebody like going like, I'm so cool, I'm so fly, I look so hot. Like, that's probably like your humor. You like try to cringe at those and you're just like laughing the entire time. When I'm watching those videos, I just have to like scroll away because I hate it so much. I can't handle it. I hate cringe humor. It's not enjoyable. And I don't think that's even what they were going for here. I think their entire purpose of making Mordecai do this was to make the audience go, why are you doing that, dude? To make you hate Mordecai a little bit and hate that he's making this decision. That was their entire purpose because Mordecai was acting so dumb here. It was so bad. It was so horrible. And then CJ crying and just misconstruing everything that's going on and running away made you sad. It made every single moment of the episode so horrible. And you're right about one thing. The only good thing in this episode is Rigby saying that he's dating Eileen. Shocker. Incredible shocker, I'll give it that. But everything else in this episode is horrible. I didn't laugh one time, and once I'm done with all these regular show rankings, I'm probably never going to watch this episode ever again. I hate it so much. And then we have one saying, Muscleman's a shallow, kind of stupid, low-substance dick who wants to pick on all of his friends and always make out with his wife. He's just a plot device used for jokes, the most absurd encounters, and the only reason he's there at all is because he's strong. He's still a morally good and all-right written character, though. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point of Muscleman. I'm not going to take that against him. He's literally supposed to represent, like, the bottom-barrel trailer trash of life, like, people that are just so horrible, but we actually get to see him progress as a character and become a better person. But the way he starts out, he is all those things. He's absurd. He's going to react really badly to a bunch of just very small situations because he's supposed to be like that. He's supposed to be somebody you could hate in the first few seasons because of the way he reacts. He's literally going to try and kill the people around him because they spill soda on him. He's going to try and mess with them. He's going to try and prank them. Of course he's going to go and make out with his big old chunky wife. That's all he ever desires in life. He even dresses up as PB&J and puts himself in a paper brown bag and just starts kissing her relentlessly. That's just Muscleman's character. You can't put that as a flaw against him because that's how he's supposed to be written. He's supposed to represent the bottom barrel trailer trash. I'm not going to hold that against his character. I think his character gets way better as the series goes on because he goes from being just this horrible person to being somebody that you could actually enjoy who truly cares about his friends, and that's why I enjoy Muscleman a lot. And then we have one from Grand AM67 saying, going a bit more broad, but the love triangle drama between Mordecai, CJ, and Margaret really prevents it from being a goated show for me. And I completely understand what you're saying. When you have 200 episodes of a show and 60 of them are spent with, oh, Margaret, will you love me? I'm too embarrassed to talk to you. My hands are shaking. Margaret, I love you. Oh, CJ, I sent you the wrong text. I said I like you. I'm 26 years old. I said I like you. Will you like me back? Hashtag I like you high. I just don't like those episodes. I think if we got like half of them just wiped from existence and replaced with episodes like Excellent, like Rage Against the TV, just all of these good episodes that actually were just self-contained stories that were just a lot of fun, that were action-packed, that just told fun adventures, I think people would love the show a lot more, and we wouldn't get all this drama talk about this stupid-ass love triangle if they just cut it in half. That doesn't mean you have to get rid of the entire story. I just think they could have told the story that they wanted to tell with Mordecai's arc that ultimately doesn't even remotely change his character. They could have told that in about 25 episodes instead of, just devoting like half of entire seasons just to Mordecai being like, I'm pulling a Mordecai, help me. Yeah, I think we could have lost a lot of that. I would say it's still a goated show. It's still one of the best, but it definitely could have been a lot better if we just got, a little bit less of those romance episodes. Then we have one from Whiz saying, Mordecai getting with the artist Bat Lady was a good choice for his character. And okay, so I got two hands here. On one hand, we have the good. We didn't have to deal with any of the nonsense drama for Mordecai again. He just got with the lady, had kids, got married, and lived his best life. And then you have my other hand. What I hate about this is the fact that we never got to see Mordecai grow as a character at all. If we had 5 seasons of Mordecai trying to get with Margaret, cheating on his girlfriend, going through sad sacks, going to Dumptown, USA, going to dumped at the altar and ruining Muscleman's wedding, doing all of these horrible things, you would think that we would get one scene, maybe 2 minutes long, where he's talking to Rigby about all of his relationships and reflecting on it, and like we get to see moments where he genuinely seems like he's learned from his mistakes and he's not going to make them again. Or we could get him bumping into CJ at a supermarket and being all like, oh hey, I've grown up a lot as a person and I'm really sorry. That's what I loved so much about Adventure Time, when like literally 4 seasons after Finn like hurt Flame Princess and made Flame Princess fight against Ice King, after we got that 4 seasons later, Finn is just talking to Flame Princess and he genuinely gives her a real apology because he's grown and he's taken the time to understand what he did was wrong. But we never got a single moment of that for Mordecai. And you could argue, oh, but the Just Friends episode, he decides to not be with Margaret. That's not character growth. That's just him being all like, yeah, I don't want to be with this girl that like ruined my last relationship, came back into my life and ruined everything, and I just saw an entire future with her, which sounds like really settling down when Mordecai is starting to have a little bit of ambition in his life. Of course he's not going to want to do that. Why would he? It doesn't make any sense for his character to even accept that offer to be with her, especially after everything he's been through. But there was never a moment where Mordecai was reflecting, and I could genuinely see that he grew as a character. And you could argue, oh, it's just regular show, you don't need that. Yeah, I do. If you're going to give me 80 relationship episodes, I want one fucking 2-minute sequence where I get to see Mordecai that has grown from everything I had to sit through and watch. Then we have one from Forrest saying, hot take, Margaret is way overhated, and I disagree with you, okay? Let's take into consideration Margaret here, okay? Let's just go way back. I'm eventually going to start making character analysis videos a regular show once I'm done with all these silly old ranking videos, where I just look at them episode by episode and decide if like they had a good character arc, if they were good throughout the entire series, and Margaret most definitely was not. I think towards the tail end she got a little bit better, but she also was horrible, got even more horrible, got a little better, and then got really, really bad, and then got a tad bit better. Taking into consideration her in like seasons 1 and 2, it was always just, hey Mordecai, you want to be my boyfriend, Sugar Spike? Yeah, he's really hot compared to you. And Mordecai's just sitting there like, Margaret, why do you have boyfriend? Yeah, that's her entire character in season 1 through 2. I wouldn't even call her a character. She's just hey, I'm hot, I have a boyfriend. That's her entire arc in the first 2 seasons. And then you eventually get to seasons 3 and 4 where they start giving her a little bit more character, but in reality she's still just, Mordecai, I like this girl that really has no personality at all, and just starts hanging out with her, and she just doesn't have any personality other than the fact, the only thing that we genuinely know about Margaret here is that she wants to go to school. That's it. That's all we know about her. We don't know like a single other personality trait about her, and just Mordecai and Margaret start hanging out a lot more. They start enjoying each other, and Mordecai eventually does date her, but for 2 weeks, because then she leaves for college and doesn't even remotely try a long distance thing with Mordecai. I don't know if it was mutual or not on that, but either way, they're done after 2 weeks, and then Mordecai finally gets with CJ, is having a good time. Margaret comes back. Mordecai cheats on her with Margaret. Yep, pretty bad. Yeah, not some good stuff. And then Margaret, in response to all of this drama, seeing Mordecai go to risk his life to get back with CJ, decides that she is going to invite a random dude and pretend that this random dude is her boyfriend just so that Margaret can go on a double date and see Mordecai. Yeah, it's all really bad, and then confesses it and acts like she's not the victim of the situation just because she has feelings for Mordecai. I hate it so much. I don't enjoy it. And then you get to the episode Just Friends where she's just all like, oh man, I really got to try and get with this guy because now he's on the market. And then eventually they both realize that they don't want to be with each other. But either way, I hate Margaret as a character. I don't think she's good. I think she just wanted Mordecai for that big blue jay thing on him. Just wanted it so bad. But I don't know. I don't think Margaret's a good person. I don't like her as a character, and I think the hate is very justified. Even her one episode where she got time to shine, local news legend, isn't even that good. Like, even remotely. It's like bottom of the barrel. Then we have one from Dolphin Rider H2O saying, my hot take for the first season of regular show isn't all too great. I think that it's bland on rewatch, and I feel like every season except 6, except a few choice episodes, are leagues better than it. And I honestly would disagree with you there. I think the first season of regular show is honestly so funny. Aside from Unicorns Have Got to Go and the episode Free Cake, I don't really like those two because I think just all of the characters are really douchebags, especially Rigby and the Unicorns. I'm just not a fan of those two episodes, but every other episode I think is really good in season 1. I think it's just prime regular show, and like for me, I actually like the animation style. It's just a bit wonky. It just feels like one of those old style cartoons, and I love the way they move. I love all the jokes. It just feels like so down to earth. We're just getting the like, you know, just the surface of all of our characters, but they all work well together. They're all like fleshed out in their own ways, and I think just like their over exaggerated personalities is a lot of fun. And episodes like Just Set Up the Chairs, Mordecai and the Rigbys, it's just so good. You have so many peak episodes. There's so many classics in season 1, and I honestly think if season 1 was like the other seasons and getting like over 30 episodes, I think it would definitely be the best season in the entire show, especially with that art style, especially with their expressive, exaggerated movements and all of the like down to earth regular show jokes that just feel so out there but work so well for the characters. I think it's peak. I think it's really enjoyable. Like season 2, 3, and 4 are also peak, but I think season 1 could have been above them all if it had the same amount of episodes. It was so good. And then we have one saying, nah man, Rigby wasn't being an asshole in the Father Time episode. The entire reason he went on a date with Margaret and was flirting with her was literally to show Mordecai how easy it was and how he was overcomplicating everything. Now, did he take it too far? Yes, he's Rigby. But I always thought the intent was to get Mordecai to break and finally ask out Margaret. I don't even think he went in the wrong direction with it. Mordecai is just a pussy when it comes to women. And I think you're so wrong about this, okay? The entire reason that Rigby is even doing this in the first place is because Mordecai doesn't want to go with him to a movie. Rigby is doing it entirely out of spite. He doesn't care about Mordecai's feelings for Margaret. He doesn't want to push Mordecai to go out and get with her. Rigby's doing this to be a dick. He does not care about Mordecai's feelings in any way. He gets Margaret to laugh and he's immediately like, dude, you're jealous of me, aren't you? And so he decides to turn it up to 100 and start flirting with her non-stop for the entire episode and eventually asks her out on a date. If you're trying to like get this idea that Rigby was like, I'm gonna like flirt with Margaret so that you know, he'll realize that he should ask her out because it's just so easy. No, if he was doing that, then he would like be all like, Mordecai, did you see how easy that was? Even someone like me can make her laugh. Maybe you could do it, you fucking idiot. He would have done shit like that to make Mordecai actually like push himself to go and talk to Margaret, but nothing ever works because Rigby is just doing it to spite him. And that's why he asked her out on a date, and that's why for the next 5 minutes of the episode, he's just all like, dude, it's almost time for my date. I'm so excited for my date. I'm gonna go on my date with Margaret, the woman that you're in love with. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be giving her tongue. That's not what a homie does. How would you feel if your best friend just asked out the like woman that you've been in love with for 4 years? How would you feel about that? You'd probably feel pretty horrible, especially if he wasn't like, dude, did you see how easy that was? I'm sure you could do it. You're like my homie. You're my bro. You're awesome. No, he wasn't doing it for anything. It doesn't matter if Mordecai sucks with women. Rigby wasn't doing it for good intentions. And especially when they're on the microwave when Mordecai's about to kill him, Rigby is literally talking about, he's not saying, you should have just like went and talked to her, dude. He's literally saying, I just wanted to go and see the movie with my bro. Instead, he wanted to go to a movie with a girl who doesn't even know he exists. You could be all like, oh, well, he said he doesn't know that she exists, so like that means that like Rigby was pushing him to go and do things. No, he wasn't. Rigby just wants to go see the movie. He doesn't care about Mordecai's feelings at all. And then we have another one saying regular show's art style and animation went downhill each season, and season 1 to 2's style was more expressive and the animation was very fluid and made the humor work better. Then it went stiffer, and by season 5 it looks very cheap and it bothers me a little. And I completely understand what you're saying. I think like season 3 to like all the way up to 8 is kind of the exact same animation because I think they had a high budget, but they just knew exactly how they wanted to make the show look, that they didn't try anything new like with anything. But for season 1 and 2 they were actually figuring it out. That's why you get like Mordecai like turning his head really fast and it looks super expressive, or like their eyes widen, or like in Rigby's body I think the animation is a lot of fun where they're like eating the donuts, their eyes light up. I think they did a lot of fun things in season 1 or 2 with all of the drawings, but I think in like seasons 3 through 8 they just kind of knew exactly what they wanted to do and didn't try anything like super expressive, didn't try any like super fast movements. It just all kind of feels the same, and that kind of sucks because if they took the same approach as season 1 and season 2, I think the entire show could have looked a lot better. And you could argue that, like, oh, the later seasons looks a lot more clean with all the colors, and everybody is always drawn correctly, but that doesn't do a whole lot for me when season 1 and 2 just feels so much more expressive. So I definitely agree with you here. And then we have one from Metal saying, I don't like the Skips and Mona episode. The episode can be better if they remove that they were in a school, and I dislike the fact that the episode destroys the canon. The episode can be a lot better if they change those things. And I don't know what canon you're referring to. The fact that in the episode The Diary, we get a 3-second clip of Skip skipping with somebody. What kind of canon is that? They literally just expanded Skip's backstory in every single way as the show progressed, and the Skip story is just so good for his character. We get to meet Mona, and she's honestly very charming, very lovable, and you could clearly see why Skips loves Mona. It doesn't do anything to the timeline, because I saw in, like, the replies here, you were saying that, oh, they were older in the, like, time skip, and I don't think they were. I just think it was, like, a shitty animation, because they literally had 6 seconds to show Skip's backstory, and they did it for just 1 second. They probably weren't thinking about, oh, Skips is in high school, Skips was doing all this, and they are completely allowed to, like, wear different clothes. Like, I'm pretty sure Skips and Mona went on a ton of dates and they were just skipping all over the place. So of course, maybe they're going to be dressing up a little bit fancier, maybe looking a little bit older, maybe having a little bit better fashion. I don't think that it changes anything. I think it could literally just be Skips and Mona are in high school. They went on a date outside of the school and they wore those clothes. There's no real canon to it. The canon has always been Skips was in love with one woman, and when he lost her, he vowed to skip for the rest of his life. And Skip's story explains how he met the woman that he loves, they fell in love, they would skip together all the time, and when Mona jumps out of the way and pushes Skips, saving his life, and she dies in the process, Skips vows to skip for the rest of his life. And it's such a good episode. It works perfectly for his character, and it is one of the best origin stories in the entire show. It's perfect. I gotta disagree with you. Then we have another one saying, I hated Mordecai being unsupportive at Rigby's graduation, but it makes sense for him behaving like that because this happened after the movie, and he sees Rigby starting to triumph, and it's logical he still feels resentment for him ruining his future by faking his rejection letter. And I don't think these two things relate at all. I don't think they even remotely had the idea of, oh, Mordecai's mad about the rejection letter, so he's going to be mad at Rigby for graduating high school. I honestly don't think the writers or the creators were thinking about that at all. I think it was literally, Mordecai likes feeling superior to Rigby. He no longer feels superior to Rigby, so he now hates Rigby, and I hate it so much. I guess you could argue that it makes sense because Mordecai's just like, oh, I'm going to be stagnant and not change at all when literally everybody around me is growing and becoming a better person. But I don't know. I don't enjoy it a lot. It's one of the worst, like, character regressions that I've ever seen, because you have this character that is so cool in the beginning of the series, and then all the way in season 7, when you're watching a character that was so horrible actually become good, you would hope that his best friend would be rooting for him, caring about him, and wanting to see him succeed and better himself. I don't know. Just a part of me just hates that because I have friends like that who I've, like, given it my all, try to help them, try to become better people, and then watching them just, you know, do nothing with it, just squander it, it sucks. It's not good. So seeing Rigby actually go out on his own and become a better person, I really wanted his best friend to be hyped for him, to be happy for him, for us to get lots of, oh, like super hyped, like Rigby's graduating. It could have been a lot of fun, but instead they decided to tell this story of, oh my god, you have a diploma now. You have a diploma now, dude. I don't like you, dude. I don't like you. It's just not enjoyable at all, and I just don't like any of the reasons that Mordecai could possibly have for it, even if it was the rejection letter they were thinking of. I just hate it. Friends should be hyped for friends, man. And then we have one from Rafkid saying, I really don't think the Excellent Challenge was all that amazing of an episode. It's still pretty good, and yes, it's iconic, but compared to other episodes, I don't really see why people think it's the best of regular show. It's much less crazy and otherworldly compared to the rest of regular show, and the fight at the end wasn't anything special. Not sure why it even got an award. I'd love to hear what regular show episodes you think are better than this, because this is just one of the pinnacle episodes of regular show. It's the formula that I love so much that I kind of base all the other episodes off if I'm going to say it's a good episode or not, if I enjoyed it. You have a really good, interesting beginning with, like, Rigby trying to do this egg challenge and he fails, and it's just so funny because he's allergic to eggs. You have Mordecai going on this incredible journey with punching Benson, learning how to beat it, attempting to beat it. We get this awesome montage with a beautiful, nostalgic I Need a Hero song, and then Mordecai goes out to beat the challenge. We get a good fight, and then we get a climactic tension ending where he has to pick the correct hat. I don't really know what you could hate about this episode. It has everything you need. You get all these amazing amazing character moments, character progression, all in 11 minutes. You get Benson becoming a better person, Mordecai becoming a better person, Rigby staying the same but being Rigby. It's just wholesome. It's good. You get a fight, an amazing montage, a really good opening, and a climactic final ending. I think it's just a perfect episode. I don't know what other episodes you think it's better than. I mean, maybe you're like thinking, oh, it doesn't get like super crazy. There's not a giant wormhole with like crazy things happening, but it's down to earth but still wacky enough to feel like regular show, and I think it definitely deserved an award. I think it's just a perfect 11 minutes of television. Then we have one from Super Tanner saying, not even a hot take, but I don't hear Gary's synthesizer being glazed enough. Every time I hear the synth battle, my eyes light up, and the episode in general is just a banger. Oh, just wait. Regular show season 7 ranking is coming very soon, and it's gonna be, pretty high up on the list, so it's very exciting. I'm very excited to talk about that episode because it's so good. You have side characters that don't usually get a lot of time to shine, but then you have Gary's episode that just turns into one of the best episodes in the entire series, with one of the best fights in the entire series, some of the best music in the entire series. It's so good and everybody knows it. If I don't mention Gary's synthesizer when I'm talking about regular show songs, the comments just light up with a flame, with a fury, just to harass me for not mentioning Gary's synthesizer battle, because it's just that good that everybody is going to remember it forever, even though it's in season 7, which is arguably one of the worst seasons in regular show. Everybody will remember this episode because it's just that good. And then we have another one saying, Thomas should have never been introduced. He added nothing into the show. He was just a boring character all around. Even when he became a spy, I didn't really care. And I completely understand why you didn't care, because he was added in the beginning of season 4, did nothing all season. Season 5, does nothing all season until the intern special where he goes and invades Jean's Park, and then season 6, he's a Russian spy, and they just justified it because, oh, he did so little that he was constantly like doing all these things in the background, doing all this Russian spy things. It was the perfect cover-up, and in reality, they just had no idea what to do with his character, and they managed to make it work with the Russian spy thing, which was a pretty shocking plot twist. I enjoy that episode a lot, but everything else with Thomas is honestly just nothing, and if you take him out of the show, if you remove the Russian spy episode, nothing changes. And that's why, I mean, you're kind of right. I'm not saying I would take away Thomas, because I do enjoy some of the episodes that he's featured in. I do enjoy some of his scenes, but overall, if he wasn't in the show, nothing would change. So if you don't want him in the show, that's perfectly valid. If you do want him in the show, it's also perfectly valid. It's just, do you like this character that did nothing all up until this big plot twist? And then we have another one saying, regular show should have ended with a movie. The space thing wasn't needed. And I would not like if regular show ended with a movie. I just wouldn't enjoy that. I would have much rather preferred Exit 9B to be the ending over the movie. I think the movie is really good for exploring Rigby's like fears of anxiety and abandonment and all of that stuff. I think that's enjoyable, exploring like his relationship to Mordecai in a deeper, like connective way. I think that was good. I think Mr. Ross is a good villain, but I wouldn't want that to be the end of the show. That just wouldn't sit right with me. It wouldn't feel good. I think a regular epic final battle is exactly what we needed to end the show. Just one big final regular show epic adventure journey with a ultimate final battle, emotional moments, great character moments, just all of them coming together to fight this ultimate threat. And then just like that 5-minute scene is really what makes up for it, with the ending, with them just all living their lives and just getting to see how they all grow up. I wouldn't want to take that away for a movie that is literally just all about Rigby writing a rejection letter. It just wouldn't be my favorite. Although like season 8 is hated by a lot of people, I still think it was necessary, and I still think it was a great way to end the show. Then we have another one saying, Benson should have gotten a full origin story. And yes, I read the rest of your stuff, but I'm just going to discuss this real quick. I don't think Benson really needed a full origin story. The mystique of his character, the like interest of his character, was when he would randomly have something so cool revealed about him, like example for the drumming, the like 150-piece kit. If you knew about that, if you had an origin story about that, then it would take away from his character. You needed random moments that just show how cool Benson could be, and that just added to how awesome of a character he was. And the ultimate point was that he didn't need an origin story. He's supposed to be this loser park manager boss who's struggling with his like love life. He's struggling with all of his emotions. He's struggling with who he is as a person. That is supposed to be his character. He's not supposed to be like Skips. He's not supposed to be like Mordecai and Rigby. He's not supposed to be this character that's supposed to have this incredible backstory. He's just supposed to be this guy that grew up in a tough home with a tough, hard loving father. He tried to be a drummer and it failed, and that just led him all the way to being a park manager. I like that we just get like random moments where we just get hints of his past, hints of his like life before he became a park manager. I enjoy that because he's not a character that's supposed to have this epic origin story. Like if you looked at my life, I wouldn't want anyone to write a full episode origin story about my life because I'm just some dude. Like, I'm not a guy that needs an origin story. Not every character needs this awesome origin story about, like, oh, I grew up in a broken home. I grew up in a broken home with a hard, loving father, but all I wanted to be was a drummer. No, we don't need an entire episode about that, because Benson is just one of those characters where you just get to see him progress, and you just get to, like, hear things about his past, or you get to watch him do something really cool and you're like, wow, he used to do that. That makes his character so much cooler. Not knowing about his past just amplifies who he is. And then we have another one saying, Muscleman and High Five Ghost were the better duo than Mordecai and Rigby. They were less toxic with each other and never really jealous of one another, and Ghost is like a chill, calm character compared to Muscleman, being wild and crazy. They were balanced pretty well. And I think you're wrong on this, because I think we just don't see Muscleman and High Five Ghost like that, because they chose to have Mordecai and Rigby as the main characters. In the episode Jinx, for example, when Rigby gets jinxed and he's getting attacked by Mordecai just constantly, who else was also in that episode getting constantly attacked? It was Muscleman attacking High Five Ghost. They were going through the same exact thing, and it's just scenes like that that make me think that Muscleman and High Five Ghost are basically the same as Mordecai and Rigby. High Five Ghost is definitely more calm and chill, but I feel like they definitely went through the same exact things. I mean, there's the episode Struck by Lightning where they stop being friends over a video. There's a lot of different things that I feel like we just didn't see from their characters. I feel like they were the same, and if Muscleman and High Five Ghost were the main characters, I feel like they would go through the same exact stuff, just even more dramatic, because Muscleman is a more dramatic personality, and High Five Ghost would have an even harder time dealing with it, because I think even though Rigby and Mordecai are like pretty crazy and go through a lot of crazy stuff, I think Mordecai is a great balance for Rigby in the beginning of the series, and then Rigby is a great like balance for Mordecai later on in the series. I think they work as the main characters, and I think Muscleman and High Five Ghost are basically the same. And then we have another one saying, regular show missed the opportunity to give High Five Ghost an origin story from season 1, whereby he was used to be living as a human in an electronics store in the 1980s in the episode Prank Callers. And I think it could have been really interesting. I do really hope in the Lost Tapes that we do get an origin story for High Five Ghost becoming a ghost, because I think a lot of people would love that. We would enjoy that. I don't know. I think they should at least address why he is a ghost, or, you know, maybe it's just a normal thing for ghosts to exist in this world. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, it would have been cool to get an origin story. Or maybe we just have to accept the fact that ghosts can exist in this world, because, I mean, High Five Ghost is dating a human woman, so maybe it's not weird to people. Maybe being High Five Ghost is just a normal thing in this society. And then we have one more from Positive Attitude Danny saying, I got the spiciest of hot takes. I feel like the show should have gone all in on Skips being the most important member of the park and explore what it means to be an immortal being. All the episodes we got from Skips are really good, and I wish in the later seasons the show goes all in on Skip's important role instead of making Pops the important one. It's not like I hate Pops either, but the rivalry with Anti-Pops just isn't there. I just feel like the sworn enemy or rival from Skip's past, other than Chloribane, would have worked better than Anti-Pops. And I honestly agree with you. I think a random villain that just wasn't just the like bad version of one of our characters would have worked a lot better. And I think Skips as a main character could have also been more positively received, because Pops honestly was just, you know, jolly good show. I could taste the Himalayas, just stuff like that. But I really like Pops. I enjoy him. I'm glad that they decided to go with him. But I think you're right. I think Skips could have been an even better character to explore. And I think even having Chloribane as that ultimate final villain coming back and actually managing to even defeat Skips and like sending him back to Earth for a little bit, giving him time to regroup and giving Chloribane time to actually plan out a form of attack. Perhaps Chloribane pulls an Exit 9B on us and gets all of the villains from all 7 seasons to return for one ultimate final battle against everybody on Earth, everybody that the park members have like gone to war with before. Instead of just that small army that we got for the park guys in Exit 9B, we get every single person that has helped our park members versus Chloribane's army. That could have been really cool. That could have been really interesting. And instead of a Pop sacrifice, we have Skips giving up his immortality to like take Chloribane down permanently with him. Something like that. Like the only way to kill an immortal being is to give up your immortality in an ultimate final battle to the death or something. That could have been really cool. That could have been something that could definitely be explored, or just like very interesting. It's just something to think about. Like, I'm glad with the ending that we got, but there's so many other routes that they could have taken with it. And if they decided to make Skips the main focus, I would have been all for it. And that's going to do it for this video today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. And if there is enough clamoring and like desire for another hot takes video in the future, I will of course make one. I'm not going to leave you guys fiending, scratching at my little dog door, just just begging for more hot takes, I'll make one. But just for now, this is going to be the finale of the series, because I don't want to just, you know, keep beating that same drum, saying the same things over and over, even though these videos are a lot of fun to make. So I'm just going to continue with my regular show content, my Adventure Time, my Gumball, my movies, my games, all of that stuff, ranking all that good stuff. I'm going to start doing some character analysis stuff, just a lot of good stuff on the way that you want to make sure you don't miss. And again, just one more reminder, that Discord, it's in the description if you want to join. It's fun stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. I appreciate you all so much.